All right. Guys, welcome to another episode of Instantly 20 Season 2. Today, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about long distance. So today's episode is going to be all about navigating long distance relationships in your life, whether it be your family, your friends, your actual partner, whatever it might be. That is what we're covering today.
Oh, wait, we didn't say our names. Hi, guys. I'm Ash, if you didn't already know by now.
And I'm Keely. Welcome back. One thing about Ash and I is that every single time we hit record, it doesn't matter how many episodes recorded that day, we sound so awkward. Like, we just cannot avoid sounding awkward at the start of every episode. We have no idea how to actually introduce our podcast.
Oh my god, did you hear that?
Are you letting him lick your microphone?
No. Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus.
There were people standing there watching us. That scared the shit out of me.
Guys, Moose is the designated Instantly 20 mascot.
Moose has been fired after that. Jesus. Okay, bad audio manner. Let's get this thing started.
Today we are actually sitting in some different locations. We've decided to set ourselves up in a new corner of the house. Today Ash is in her lounge room and I'm sitting in the corner of my room. Actually kind of comfortable. I don't know, I'm vibing.
Yeah, I feel like Kills and I are really into the whole cozy vibe of the podcast at the moment when we film. I don't know. It's just, we used to get up every single day, like once a week, and would go record in a studio and would sit there all proper. And I feel like I look at all these TikToks as well of people when they record their podcasts and they're like sitting there all sophisticated and professional, and we're literally just in bed, or we're sitting on the ground. Like, I'm literally on the ground right now.
I don't know. I just really like sitting in my bed. It's so good. It's giving work from home.
We just want to be relatable, you know, guys. I feel like we've really been capitalizing on, oh my gosh, Miss. Sorry, I'm joined by my dog today because I'm sitting in the living room and he's so cute. So if you see him in the background of any of our videos, go jump on TikTok to check out our video content, but it's really cute. Anyway, but yeah, I feel like we are really capitalizing on our whole FaceTiming your best friend part of this season, as we know that Keely has moved away. So we're doing the long distance and I kind of like it. It feels like you guys are just in on our FaceTime sessions, but with a microphone.
Well, speaking of long distance, that is what today's episode is about. But before we get started, we're going to tell you this week's instant tea.
Jules, I feel like you should go first because yours is so on par with today's episode. I feel like it always is. Keely just always has the most relatable instant teas or lucky girl syndromes whenever it comes time, and it's always relating to exactly what the episode's about. So I'll let you go first.
The start of this story is going to sound like I'm one of those psychopathic girlfriends. But basically, my boyfriend's headed overseas. And you know when your little anxious devil in your brain starts telling you things and just making you feel a little bit insecure, even though you have no reason to be insecure. Like, I have nothing to question him on. But I'm laying in bed the other night and I'm just like thinking to myself, what if he meets the girl of his dreams on the airplane while he's like away from you and you can't talk to him because he's on airplane mode and they have like the best conversation ever, and then he comes back and he breaks up with you. Like, that is like what my anxiety starts telling me. I'm like, he's gonna meet this gorgeous girl on the plane. Anyway, this is actually so relevant because he's like about to board the plane last night. He's texting me, he's like, yep, like I'm on board. And I was like, amazing, like good to hear. Basically, he got separated from the people he's going with just because there was a screw around with the airline. So he had to sit by himself. And I was like, oh, like, have you made any friends? Like, who are you sitting next to? And he sends me this selfie of him and this like grandma, like this random woman. And it was the funniest thing. He goes, this is my friend. And I literally started pissing myself laughing. I'm just looking at this photo and I was just like, who is this random like lady who's just sitting next to my boyfriend? Like, they've obviously gotten acquainted in like the 10 minutes that they were sitting on the plane. Apparently, she said to text me and say, don't worry, I'm too old for him anyway.
How old was she?
She'd be in her 80s. It was like the cutest little grandma.
Keely's being a jealous girlfriend, being like, which girl are you sitting with on the fucking plane? It's like an old grandma.
And it was really sweet because he FaceTimed me before they took off and he like shows me her and I'm like, hello, how are you? And she's like, you are so beautiful. Like, she just starts complimenting me. She's like, you are so pretty and gorgeous. She was like, don't worry, I'm not gonna steal him. It was the sweetest thing ever. But I just thought it was the funniest thing. I'm like, what is the irony of like me laying in bed late at night, like having like a bad little anxiety thing, being like, he's gonna meet a gorgeous girl. And I actually don't think that, but my brain just starts, you know, going on tangents as you do when you're laying in bed late at night.
Yeah.
A couple days later, he gets on the plane and he's like sending me a selfie with this old lady.
That's cute.
Anyway, that's my tea of the week.
That's cute. Mine's kind of long distance related too, I guess. So my family live 6 hours away from me, and my dad's coming up the weekend coming, so this Sunday, to watch the Sydney Swans game. I know you're a Sydney Swans fan as well, but we've been big Sydney.
No, I'm not. I'm an AFL fan.
Aren't you Sydney Swans?
No, I go for Hawthorn.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the end of the podcast and our friendship, so... I'm kidding. No. So we go for AFL, and each year or so, his best friend and him just come up and they watch the game. And they invited myself and my boyfriend to come along. He's gone with my dad a few times to watch the games when his friend hasn't been able to come. So it's like a cute thing that we can all go together as a group. And I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm really excited to spend some family time.
Oh, that's so sweet. I hope you guys have fun. I hope your team loses.
Fuck off. I feel like it will be a nice family bonding activity, but his friend actually goes for the opposite team, so it will be like 3 of us and then 1 of him, so we better win. This kind of really introduces the episode nicely, talking about long distance friendships and relationships, not just romantic. We really want to touch base on family, friends, etc. And yeah, I'm ready to get into today's episode. Keels, I'll let you start first.
All right, so to get started this episode, I thought it would be good for Ash and I to just like recap and touch base on just like, I guess, our story with life so far, because I feel like we've had very different upbringings. For me, I've navigated long distance relationships with my family my entire life because I've lived in officially 4 states. I'm just like unlocking them like trophies. Anyway, so like I was born in the same state as where my family live now, like my extended family, but we moved away when I was literally like a couple months old, and ever since then we've just constantly maintained those long distance relationships with them. And now my family live across 4 different states, and like I don't even live in the same town as any of my family right now. My family, the closest people would be about 2 hours away, so I feel like for me, it's always been really normal. And then obviously alongside that, as I said, I've moved around a lot. So my whole life I've had long distance friendships. So like skipping forward to last year when I had to tell my current boyfriend, like I'm intending on moving away, which mind you, I told him I was moving away 2 weeks after we met. So like from the get-go, we always knew we were going to be doing long distance. For me, I was like, well, I've got all these friends that live around the whole country, let alone overseas. Like it's quite normal for me to like have to go through these things. Obviously it's a lot more emotional and probably a bit more high intensity when it's your boyfriend compared to friends and family. But I was like, nah, I'm good. Like I can navigate this. So it was really interesting to find out whether or not he was going to be okay with that. But anyway, skip forward like 7 months later and it's going really well. So it worked out for me. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like for me, I've constantly had long distance relationships in my life. So it's something that's always been there. And like obviously now Ash and I are long distance besties and have been a few times, keep skipping around, moving and like missing each other. But anyway, and now we've got a long distance podcast. So that's a little recap on my life and what I've kind of navigated. Ash, would you like to explain? Because I know you have some stuff you'd like to say.
I feel like mine is kind of not really the opposite, but I haven't really had to deal with long distance at all. I feel like my family, like we all grew up under the one household. So when both of my sisters moved to go to university and move out from their hometowns, they lived an hour and a half each from different sides of my hometown. So then they were 3 hours apart from each other. But I was kind of in a nice, happy medium way there. Like it wasn't too far, it wasn't too close. Like it was a perfect amount for like a weekend getaway. I guess it wasn't really until I met my boyfriend that I kind of had to do the whole long distance thing. I didn't really think much of it. Like I kind of met him and then thought like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. This is like a once-off kind of thing. So we lived about 6 to 7 hours apart from each other. So it wasn't really until then where the whole long distance really became a thing. And then we navigated that. So, I mean, I am here now in Sydney, so it did work out in the end. But yeah, I don't really think besides that, I haven't really had much to do with friendships or yeah, I mean, I have, but it hasn't really been unreasonable. I mean, you currently live like 12 hours away from your partner and you've had family in different states. So mine hasn't ever been to an extreme level.
Yeah, I live 12 hours away from you too. Do you miss me?
Oh, okay. I guess I don't feel like that though. I feel like I see you all the time. I guess I do have experience, yeah.
I'd actually like to touch on this. When I had to tell her I was moving away, honestly, that was quite heartbreaking for both of us. And like anyone that we told was really like sad for us because they were like, you guys are a package deal. You're like 2 peas in a pod. Like it was, yeah, quite hard for both of us. And there were a lot of tears in the initial, like telling you that I was going to be leaving. But we were honestly so dramatic about it at the time. But actually, the reality is I've seen her more this year than than I think I did when I actually lived there.
I guess this kind of comes into my first point, and this counts for relationships and friendships, but always having something planned and knowing when you are going to see that person makes it so easy. So for friendships, so I guess with Danny, you guys know Danny, she is part of our trio and has made a few appearances now on the podcast. But yeah, no, I guess what we do with her, like we catch up for birthdays, we plan events. I know you guys go to concerts together. They're into a whole different genre that I'm definitely not interested in. So they've been to Melbourne a couple of times now to go to concerts. Danny and I, we're going to a concert together at the end of the year. We're all going to a concert together. So I feel like for birthdays, events, and to just also like have weekend trips away, it's really important to plan stuff with each other and have the next event organized so that you've got something to look forward to.
I think as well, ever since we've all moved apart, anytime we do spend together is always quality time. Yeah, we don't get a lot of it, but we make the most of it, and everyone's always really excited and like has like been well rested and is like ready to socialize. So I feel like it's actually been a benefit to our friendships because we're not just living in each other's pocket all the time and just doing like the whole lay on the couch and play on TikTok and like, yeah, we're together, but we're not actually paying attention. Like it's always super, super quality time, both within friendships and relationships, which I think has been like a really valuable, it's just been really, really good for our friendships.
That's definitely something I agree on. And that was one of my points, is that I feel like in day-to-day life, it's really common to feel like you're in autopilot mode and not value every single person around you. And when it comes time to seeing friends, it can feel super draining, like a bit of a chore. It's the end of the week. Oh, that's right. Like I made plans with this person. I know sometimes my energy might not fully be there, or I may not be like fully into it because I'm just tired and exhausted. But if you know you've had it planned for a couple months and you know, oh, I haven't seen my friend in a couple months or a couple weeks, it makes it more exciting.
But also I think we're so lucky to live in the 21st century with FaceTime, because FaceTime has been like the most valuable thing, especially for anybody living overseas or like in a different state, things like that. Honestly, if we didn't have that, none of us would probably get to talk, and that's just the reality. Like people in the past wouldn't have gotten to speak to people once they moved away. Like that would have been the end of it. Or when it kind of got into 2000s, like yeah, you had like Facebook and stuff, but it's just not the same. But Ash and I FaceTime so many times per week, and we like prioritize the time to like sit down and like catch up and things. But one thing I really wanted to talk about on this episode, just like a little tip I guess for anybody like going through any long distance friendships, we have this thing that we do every like 2 to 4 weeks where we do like a weekly dump or like a recap, and we'll all send each other like 10 photos of things you've done like in that last week, and like a summary of emojis, like maybe a little voice message to like recap what we've done. Because I think the thing that mostly sucks about long distance friendships is that you don't really get to know like the nitty gritty like about your friend's life. You only ever really hear like the massive highlights or the huge lowlights. Like you don't really get to hear like the fun little things that they did in their day, or like a funny conversation that they had, which I think is a big part of having close friendships. So the one thing I really love is like our little photo dump that we do, because then we get to see like, oh, Ash had this really cute coffee that had like a fun little pattern on it that week, or like here's a photo of Moose with a like Halloween outfit, or I don't know, that was such a random example, but just things like that you wouldn't think to ask or tell someone.
I agree. Utilizing group chats, utilizing FaceTime, even like with TikTok, we've got a TikTok group chat, so it's just a fun way to sort of still, I guess, start a conversation on something, but to just check in. I know everyone's a bit more limited for time as well, so it's like we can't all sit around every single day FaceTiming, but when we do, it's a lot of fun, and we have these group calls, we have individual calls. But that's another thing I wanted to talk about with relationships, is FaceTime is your best friend for a long distance relationship. I remember when my partner and I were doing long distance, I felt like it was me, FaceTime, and him. Like we were all in the relationship together. And some advice I really like is just to use the like Netflix party, or to stop and start a movie at the same time, or even have a show that you really like to do together. I think FaceTime dates are the best dates.
I think we're really lucky that both of us did long distance around COVID/post-COVID, because a lot of technology got created in that time to make sure people stayed connected during like lockdowns and stuff like that. Like there's so many fun features of FaceTime that I love to utilize. The other day, for example, my boyfriend loves a little like morning rot TikTok. I missed him and I really wanted to talk to him, and I was like, can we FaceTime? You can share your screen, I'll just watch your TikToks with you.
Oh, that's so cute.
We're like watching each other's TikToks and stuff. And oh my God, this is going to sound wild, but last year at like Christmas time, like I just got like a bunch of cash from like family members and like Christmas bonuses and stuff. And when I was about to move, my boyfriend and I had started playing this game called It Takes Two on PS5 because he has one at home. And I was like, oh my God, that's like such a good idea. If like, I know PS5s are really expensive, but I was like, oh, if I got one, play games together. And like, that would be a really fun way to have dates and stay connected. I used to really love games as a kid, and it's become this like new fun thing that we do together. Like we started playing like FIFA, like Minecraft, all those sort of things. And like, honest, these headphones that I'm wearing right now, my boyfriend had bought me so I can like be a little gamer girl with him. But like, thank you for shouting that because now they're my podcast headphones as well. But yeah, just playing games and listening to music, like Ash said, like utilizing like Netflix chats and stuff like that. I just think we're just so fortunate to live in a time where you can still feel connected even though you're apart.
I think FaceTiming or group calling while you're playing games. I remember when Among Us came out, so I would play with my boyfriend's group of friends and would all be on like a big group chat playing Among Us, where you have to like, if you guys know, you know, like if you remember that time, it was a very specific niche, but it was so good. And then we would play that with our group of friends, with Danny, like where we all lived separately. She was in Newcastle, you were in Sydney, I was back home. And it would be just like such a fun way to sort of catch up at the end of the week and like look forward to all group calling together. And I guess even like I still like to play Miniclip, you know, Miniclip
I
Pool.
haven't played Miniclip in years.
Oh my gosh, we should do that. Miniclip Pool, it's so good. But utilizing games and at work, a client had told me about his long distance relationship. And he was actually talking about they have a book that they read together. So instead of a TV show or like games, because I know it's like important for some people to limit screen time, they live in opposite countries, so the time difference is really bad. So they do like a chapter a day or something, or whatever book it is, and then they sort of have like a book club online.
That's so sweet. You will never catch my boyfriend reading a book. He does not have the attention span for that, but we should do that.
I thought that was really
That's
cute.
really sweet.
I just really liked that. I was like, that's nice. But yeah, I think even FaceTime dates, like I think when you're in a relationship, obviously it's important to check in daily or maybe every second day or something like that, whatever works for you guys. But cooking dates and making sure that you spend time actually sitting and like eating meals together.
Cooking dates are the cutest. I honestly just love jumping on FaceTime and doing like errands and body doubling on FaceTime while I like get shit done. Ash and I do that all the time.
Yes. Oh, if I don't want to fold that pile of laundry or I don't want to mop my house, you bet I'm FaceTiming.
And it feels like the time just flies by and you forget that you did the chore because you're like, oh, like I've been just talking and staying distracted this entire time. It's such a good tool. That's the best way to get shit done in the house.
Or Keely is a big one for driving and calling. Anytime she's calling, I'm like, I bet she's in the car. She's either in the car or doing chores. That's when you call. You FaceTime when you're like sitting down like, oh, I miss you. Like, I want to see you. But when she calls me, I'm like, you're definitely driving. Because Keely drives like, she's always driving. You're just always in your car. You're always going somewhere.
My car and I are like best friends. No, I feel like I do drive a lot, but it's just because like I just have a lot of places to be. I'm a busy girl. No, I love driving and like just having a quick chat in the car, because if you are going for a quick like 30-minute drive, that is not quick. If you're driving like 30 minutes to somewhere, it's a great opportunity to just call someone and catch up with them. If I ever want to go visit my family, they're a couple hours away, and like obviously Sydney's even further. My favorite thing to do on those big long drives is just call any friend that will answer and be like, how are you? Tell me everything about like your life. Like, let's have a catch up, because sometimes life is just so busy and like you forget to hit pause. But when you're in the car, all you can do is sit there and focus on the road. I think it's honestly perfect time to just call people and be like, hey, what's happening? You can't do anything else anyway. Not to say that I don't want to prioritize you when I'm doing other things, but I just think, yeah, when you're driving, it's the quickest, easiest way to have a catch up. I guess coming to like, yeah, towards the end of this podcast, obviously that made it sound like the podcast is ending. Why did I say it like that? Coming into the end of this episode, I think, yeah, we really wanted to discuss like the pros and cons of long distance, and like honestly just the realism on how hard it can be. So like I'm going on 6 months of doing a long distance relationship, like with my boyfriend. And honestly, it's been like really hard, and it's so challenging on your mental health. Obviously, like when you're in like the fresh stages of your relationship, it's like that honeymoon phase and you always want to be around them, like you'll drop anything to be with them. And I was still kind of in that when I left. I was distraught. Like I was bawling my eyes out. I failed to enjoy the last few days with him because it was just in the back of my head, like, I'm leaving you soon. And one thing I've noticed in the first maybe like 3 months of our relationship being long distance, anytime I was about to leave him, that last day felt like hell to me. Like, I literally could not enjoy it at all. And that's something I really had to work on because it was making me really sad. And like, I would go, 3-4 weeks without seeing him. And in that time I would do a lot of inner work and I'd feel really happy again, look forward to seeing him. Like, I'd feel great again. Then I see him and it's like I started from scratch with that full like cycle of feeling awful. But I'm actually really proud of myself. So like, obviously I said we're like up to 6 months ish now. And like the last time I saw him, I was actually fun. We like had the best last day together. I had like a great day. He dropped me to the airport. We're like laughing in the car. I was like so excited to see you when you get back from Europe. Screw you. Anyway, so excited to like see you when you get back from your holiday in a few weeks. It was more of like like I miss you feeling rather than, oh my God, I can't leave because I can't live without you and I'm gonna actually have a meltdown right now. Like, I was actually okay and I didn't cry and I was like, yes, growth. But
slay girl.
It's really interesting how it affects you because I don't get like that with my friends. Love you, but like I'm not like I can't live without you, but like,
what do you mean?
Physically, I'm okay if we're on FaceTime or if we're physically in the room together. Obviously, I'd prefer to be with you and do fun things together, but our relationship doesn't get affected by the distance at all. Like me and Ash, I feel like we're really okay. But for some, I guess it's because when you're partner, like you're a lot more physical with them. Ooh, spicy. But no, it's
you want to kiss him?
Like Ash and I aren't like.
You want to be with him?
Ash and I aren't like. Actually, I can't even say we don't spoon in bed because we love a cuddle when we have a sleepover. But
don't tell them our secrets.
But like, you know what I mean? Like Ash and I's relationship isn't affected by like
2 girls, 1 podcast.
Ash and I's friendship isn't affected by physical touch, whereas a relationship is. So it's always really hard to physically be away from like your partner. But it's interesting the way it just affects between people. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like long distance is one of the best things that you can do for yourself and your relationship. Like the strength and the trust that came out of my long distance relationship is crazy. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I do understand there's hard aspects to it, especially if you live in different states or overseas. Thankfully, like my situation wasn't too bad, but I just feel like it was so, you don't have to rely on that physical connection to get you by. And a lot of people do in relationships. And you fall in love with them for them and their personality before you fall in love with them for their body, which I know, like, most people want to have their spicy time, and I understand that. Or not even spicy, but just like a kiss and a cuddle. And I know that's like really important to do in relationships. But I feel like having that deep foundation to having the layers to your relationship just be more than that. And you build a connection that no one else can relate to. You build a connection that's just so deep for you two. You spend so much time on FaceTime. You spend so much time getting to know each other. I don't know. I'm really grateful for the time I spent doing long distance.
I love that you brought that up because so many people, like when we first were like, oh, we've only been together for a couple months and we're going to be long distance, everyone was questioning it. They were just like, that is crazy. But in the back of my head, I was like, I just feel like this is going to be the best thing for us because yes, we're still in that honeymoon phase, but this is perfect because it means we get to continue this honeymoon phase while focusing on ourselves and doing what we need to do to grow our careers, like our personal growth, all these things, without just always constantly dropping everything for each other, because I know what I'm like and I genuinely, I'll cancel work for him because I just want to be with you all the time. But this space has just allowed us to personally do our own thing, see our friends, like it doesn't get in the way of anything. And then when you do see each other, like it's just so much more special and everyone's just like, oh, like that's really cute. But I know what you mean because I feel like our communication is so healthy and I trust him so much, and like I never question him. Like I'm never gonna sit there and be like, where is he? What's he doing? Like is he with another girl? Unless it's the grandma on the plane apparently. But
because the grandma, realistically, if you're spending that much time FaceTiming someone, having FaceTime dates, calling, connecting, texting, it kind of just, my partner used to drive 6.5 hours to come and see me.
They have to prioritize it, right?
Like every couple of weeks or like once every month or so, or vice versa, I would get in a plane and go to him. And it's kind of like, why would they put in so much effort just to go and be like fucking around with someone else?
You can just, you know that you're their priority.
You know that you are that person's priority. You know that they're there for you.
It feels like so much more of like a serious relationship that like, you're like, yeah, we're choosing each other. We're both saving this space. You're saving yourself and you're saving yourself. No, but like you really are. You're saving, I don't know how I'm trying
Keely, you saving yourself for marriage?
Saving myself for marriage. No. you're like, I've chosen you, and yes, we can't be together right now physically, we'll eventually come back together and be physically together, and that's amazing and exciting.
Yes, that is though the one thing that I was kind of stuck on, like how to wrap this episode up. When I asked my partner last night, these are my points, and I wanted to cross check with you because obviously like you may have a different perspective from being a guy. What do you think? Like, what have I missed? And he said, I wrote it down. He said, sacrifice. At the end of the day, one of you has to sacrifice moving and changing your life and then being together, like, because it can't go on forever. So I think that that's like the biggest part for me with my relationship. I always knew that I wasn't going to stay where I was forever, and it was more just like a matter of time and a matter of when to move. Yeah, I think one of you has to be happy to know that there has to be change. I mean, unless you want to live a long distance relationship for like the next like 30 years, like congrats to you, that's fine, but sacrifice.
As much as you have to make sacrifices, I also think you have to communicate with your partner and what the best compromise is for both of you, because it's definitely not fair for someone to have to give up their entire life, their friends, their family, wherever they are living, to completely integrate into your life. There has to be a middle ground and a discussion about how can we make this the best situation for both of us? Like, where are we going to live together? How can we start our life together in this place, wherever it might be, when we do close the distance? And I think it's really interesting having those conversations and stuff, because it's always like open. There's so many things and so many options, and it's just, it's a very difficult conversation. But I think if you are in a long distance relationship, not to say it won't work out if you don't have those conversations on when we're going to close a distance, but just as much as it's important to know when you're next going to see them, I think it's also really important to know what the timeline is and a general idea of like what life's going to look like when you do come together.
Because it makes it exciting to look forward to, but it also knows that there's going to be like a stop to it, and it helps the time move easily.
Exactly. Easily.
Quickly, moves easily. But that's a really good point, Keels. I didn't really think about that, the compromise. I mean, for me, my sacrifice didn't feel like much, because it was like...
It was exciting,
what
right?
I wanted to do. It's what I chose to do. It was an exciting new part for me. It wasn't really like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to leave my whole family. It was like, I'm ready.
I feel like for you, it wasn't a sacrifice. It was an opportunity, if that makes sense. He helped bring you to where you needed to be.
Linear thinking. Yes.
We've been working 100%. On that lately.
It's opening new doors. It's exciting to look at this as an opportunity as to where your life can go and how it can change for the better. And I mean, it also opens up new pathways. If I hadn't have moved here, which obviously I moved to Sydney for my relationship, but I also moved for other reasons. I moved for myself, my career growth, my friends. I had a whole support network here, which I didn't have back at home. So I don't know. I feel like you've just got to look at it with... Positive. Glass half full.
I love saying that exact same thing. I'm really glad that we've had this conversation. It's something I've wanted to touch on for a very long time, and Ash has been wanting to talk about the long distance thing since we started the podcast, but at the time I didn't have much to contribute in the relationship way. But I think it's really cool because your perspective is like someone coming out of it, and mine's like someone that's currently in it. And like Ash just said, like glass half full. And back to like the linear thinking thing. Like, I'm so grateful that my boyfriend and I made this work. Like, I'm just so lucky to have him, because I think my life would look so different if I hadn't met him just before I moved. And he's honestly just been like such a solid and a rock throughout like this entire transition of me moving and things like that. And we've had so much fun together, and every single time we see each other, we like always plan these amazing like fun trips and stuff. I'm really happy, guys.
Aww,
I love talking about him.
I'm happy for you guys. So I guess to finish up today's episode, I do want to ask you guys, are you planning on closing the gap anytime soon? I know we just discussed, having like an end point to the long distance, and I want to know, fill me in on the juicy gossip.
I guess...
Move back to Sydney. I miss you already, please.
Begging me.
Every single day I'm like, when are you moving back?
Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we've got like holidays planned overseas for next year, so like that's really exciting. But I'll keep you guys updated when I eventually have an answer.
She's keeping her cards close, guys. Not letting us know yet.
She's like, tell me.
Maybe she's moving overseas. Where are you going? Where's the traveling going?
Where am I going? Oh, we're actually, okay. Yeah. So like, how we went on a cruise and we were supposed to go to the South Pacific. Me and my boyfriend have booked a trip to go on like a different ship and stuff, but we like intend on going on that cruise because we thought it'd be fun to do a cruise together. But at the moment we're like looking at maybe doing Japan, which I know Ash is looking at doing too. So.
Oh my God, dude, I just looked at tickets the other day. No, but I think I will.
That's really exciting.
Maybe next week.
Japan's the place to be. But
Wait, when would you go to Japan?
When? I would really love to go at cherry blossom season, which is like next year.
Oh, yes.
But we'll see.
Oh, April.
Yes. So anyway.
Well, I'm happy for you guys. I mean, yeah, like I have made it out the other end, but I think there's obviously pros and cons, but it depends on what you guys look at it as. Like I'm the kind of person where I try and have the most linear thinking possible, and I've really been trying to integrate that into Keely.
I've really been trying to exposure
but yeah, I
therapy
guess-
her into linear thinking.
I've been trying to help her be more positive. I feel like if you look at things from a half glass full, you're going to receive that energy back. And not everything's always happening to you. Sometimes things are happening for you.
We've said it a few times, I've been personally through a lot of just like shit in the last like 18 months or so. But every time a couple months go past and I'm kind of like out of the tornado of what's been going on, I'm always able to reflect back on it and go, well, if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened and this wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen. And it always leads to a positive thing. So I feel like we always just have to trust the universe.
Slay girl. That was a really nice way to close up
you.
the episode.
Some wisdom.
I'm really happy that we did this. Like I said, like Keely said, I've been wanting to do this episode for a while, but she hasn't really had the right kind of vibe to add to it now, and I feel like this was perfect. And yeah, we hope we gave you guys some advice, some insight. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like any time in life you're going to have to deal with friendships, relationships, family. It's always going to come up at some stage, so embrace it the best you can. And we're your long distance best friends as well, so we're in this together.
I totally agree. Alrighty guys, we're going to wrap this up, but thank you so much for listening. We're excited to come back in your ears, as we always say, next Monday at 7 a.m. So don't forget to turn post notifications on, by the way, because it will tell you every single time an episode comes up. So you don't even have to open Instagram to know.
Oh, yes. And also check out our TikTok. We've been trying to post and let you guys in on what's happening behind the scenes. So we'd love if you jumped on and followed us there. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We will be back next week and we love you.
love you guys.
Peace out, doggies. Bye.
What did you say?
Peace out, doggies.
All right, let's turn this shit off. Time for a nap.
Oh. Okay, bye.